Well, hello and good day, influencers. Listen, it's your girl here, Anika Cohen. I want to welcome you to Behind the Screen Business Confessions. Listen, this is the show where we have real, raw conversations to motivate and support our leaders around the world to propel forward with clarity and confidence. And so we are here to support you. We are here to support you. We are here to what? Support you on your journey in the marketplace. We know that it is no small task to what it is that you have been assigned and called to do. And so I am super excited that we have another amazing guest on our show today, where we are going to be talking about her story, her message, and I'm super excited to have another guest because this is where we get to highlight someone in our community, someone who is doing the work daily in our community. They said yes to an assignment that is greater and bigger than themselves. And so I'm super excited. So if you are new to the marketplace, you're in the right space. If you want to pursue your business, your idea, your vision, you are in the right place. We are here to motivate and support you with the good, bad, and everything in between. And so we want to have those dialogues. We want to have those conversations to, again, bring light to it and not shy away from it, not avoid what it is that we are experiencing, but to talk about it, to make it normal. You don't have to suffer in silence. Come on here, somebody. So listen, without further ado, I want to bring our guest out. She is a phenomenal woman in her own right. So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring to our virtual stage Miss Sandra Marks. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, Sandy. It's so good to see you on the Behind the Screen Business Confessions show. I'm excited.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, listen, for those of our listeners who don't know who you are or what you do, I'm going to give you the opportunity to share with us who is Sandy.
That is a good question. Over the years, everything I've been through, Sandy's evolved into so many different things. Mom, wife, friend, neighbor, supporter, a little bit of everything. But who am I? I'm a person just like anybody else that wants to bring the good out, honestly. Um, you got to share kindness as much as you can and hope that what you do has a reaction, and hope that the little bit that you put out there makes a difference. I meet a lot of people in the community, and everybody always says, well, what are you trying to get out of this? And personally, nothing. But if I could help one person out of 100, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely. And so that leads me to ask the question, what exactly do you do?
Well, I am a peer support specialist for drug and alcohol counseling. I am a person that's in recovery for 9.5 years now. In active recovery, because you're never cured, you're just maintaining, basically,
Mhm.
and learning how to live again, start over, and that's basically what I do. I try to help people that is in the stage of addiction that don't know that help is out there. They don't know how easy it is to get help. Some people don't know how to ask for help. Um, I know how I felt, basically cold, alone, afraid, no one to turn to, don't even know where to start. And that's what my role is as peer support. Is I come in there and let them know, hey, this is what you could do. This is what, you need to do. This is how you could do it, and show them that it's possible.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, let me just shed light on this is exactly why Influencers on the Rise Brunch and Gala was created to highlight, to spotlight our leaders in our community who are doing the work, who are putting in the time, who are putting in the effort, who are showing up for people who cannot show up for themselves, who are being the voice and the advocate for people who cannot be the advocate for themselves. I want to openly say thank you, Sandy. Thank you for what you do every day in our community. I know firsthand what it looks like to do her job. I work with her in our day-to-day careers. Y'all already know I'm a substance abuse mental health counselor. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Delaware. And so I work alongside with Sandy in her role as a peer support of 9 years in recovery, active recovery. Salute to you. And she shows up for these clients every day outside of being clocked in. Outside of being clocked in, she still shows up because she's passionate about what she does in our community. And so you got started because of your own
Addiction.
walk in addiction, right?
Yeah.
That's how you got started.
Mm.
So I want to ask you, since you are now in recovery 9 years, what has been some of the challenges
Oh,
that you see?
well, the number one challenge is basically finding a place and knowing how to ask for help. We get some people that, they go to detox and thinking, well, that's the end all be all, but there is ways that you can live some type of normalcy and, have a regular everyday to day life, but still be in active recovery. It's not one or the other. Um, but some of the challenges, of course, is homelessness and um, being accepted by several facilities. When I was in my early recovery, I was thrown from one facility to another because, hey, my insurance did only cover 3 days. So you're out on your behind after that. What do you do
Mm-hmm.
after? And that's where people like me jump in and share the resources. Well, hey, this is what you could do. This place is open. That place is open. And just give them the resources they need to show them that, hey, when one door closes, a window's going to open.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so you talk about detox facilities, inpatient facilities, and how that can be a barrier due to insurance, due to the person's just not having the basic necessities like an ID. Come
Yeah.
on here. And so you are the person that steps in to assist them with additional resources. And so again, what you do is no small task. And so I'm glad that you're here to shed light on the everyday struggles of someone who is in addiction and how media can portray addiction. What do you say to that? How the media portrays addiction? Because everyone may not necessarily use drugs
Mm-hmm.
or alcohol, but you may know someone who is suffering, and most people don't know how to still treat the person as a human with the addiction as a disease, and so then they're shunned based on what they see on media. So what is your response to that?
That is really a hard one because the stigma out there is horrible, honestly. So let's talk about, finding some type of employment. Okay. And if you have any type of felony or background with substance abuse, automatically it's as if the door gets slammed in your face unless that person that is doing the hiring or interview has some type of addiction experience, like either a loved one or themselves, or they know about it, because the stigma is um, being unreliable, the lying, the cheating, the stealing, all of that. And it's very hard, honestly. It really is. But there is people out there that do sympathize. But we have to get the word out there. I tell my clients this all the time. If you were fighting cancer, you wouldn't be hiding behind closed doors. You want
Mm,
to march. You want to celebrate that you beat it. You want to wear your pink. And that's how you got to be in recovery. You have to celebrate it. And I believe it is a diagnosis. I do believe it is a mental health disorder because of personal experience and what I've suffered with. So I do know that it is a condition that is not curable, but it is maintainable. And
absolutely.
everybody deserves a second chance.
Yes, you said it very well. Everybody deserves a second chance. And so, one of the things that I believe is you can't judge a book by its cover. And so, although you may not be active in addiction or you may not have experience what someone else has, it doesn't mean that they are less valuable. It doesn't mean that they don't matter and that they don't have a voice. They still matter. They still have a voice. They're still a human being. They got lost. They lost control. And so you talked about, you struggle. What are some of the struggles that you have overcome?
Some of the struggles I've overcome is honestly the separation with family. Addiction hurts our family so severely that some bridges may not be able to mend. Um, me myself, I come from a very big family, very strong bloodline, traditions and the family order. And because of my addiction and the role that it played, it separated a lot of my family. And, that is something that I was able to overcome. I was able to find support through friends and through counselors and through peer support as well. And support is a big thing. And that's why I try to be there as much as I can, because I know without support I wouldn't be here today.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, let's talk about support because you and I often have this conversation. You can be supportive to someone who is struggling in addiction, right? But what are some of the boundaries that you should implement? So I feel like we should take this moment to educate, right?
Mm.
Because again, the stigma and the misconception about people who are suffering with addiction and how to address it, how to approach it, how to support them without enabling them, right? So
Exactly.
I want you to share just from your own experience what it actually looks like to still be supportive, but also enforce boundaries.
It's positive motivation. Telling them that they got this, they could do it, giving them the resources to be able to do it. It's so much as in I could pick up the phone, you know what I mean, and help them get a job or help them get a place, but that is not actually helping them, because next time around, or if something were to take place, they wouldn't know how to do it themselves because I've done it for them.
Right.
So that is a big boundary. You have to let them walk and lead, but be there to support them if they fall, if they stumble. If they're having a hard time and they're down and they're out, be that voice of reason. And I believe that support, number one support, is the voice of reason. Somebody you can call and just get that positive feedback from. And
Hmm.
honesty. Because let's put it where it's at. Sometimes positive feedback could be negative as well, but it's the truth. And it
Come
has to
on, talk about it, Sandy.
it has to be said sometimes. And that's the hardest part, is um knowing how far you can go with an individual.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because we have this conversation all the time. And it's because we're so passionate about what we do. We, as the caregivers, I would like to call us, we're caregivers because this is a partnership. I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. But what we do have, again, is support. I can be a listening ear, but I can also hold you accountable to what you said your goals were. Right. So if I have to tell you not at this time, if I have to tell you that I can do this instead of doing XYZ, that is still me, what, implementing boundaries. And
Mhm.
so it's enforcing you to show up for yourself as well. So I love that we are able to have this open dialogue because, again, so many people are suffering or they know people who are suffering with an addiction, but they don't know how to address it. They don't know how to approach it in a way that is safe for the other person not to feel judged, you know? And so let's just talk about that for a moment. How did you overcome? You talked about your family and how that was one of the things that you've overcome. How were you able to handle judgment when you were in, well, after you made the change and people still judge you? Because that happens. They still
Yeah.
hold your past over what you have done.
You have to come to the realization that you could only control how you feel, how you act, and how you portray something. You have to be accountable for what you've done and know that it's been done. But there's nothing you can do to take it back. Um, I feel like that when someone was to judge me harshly for something that's been done in the past, I have to look at both sides of it. I really do. And I have to feel and see, well, their side of it all, because there's two sides to every story, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and there's two sides to every feeling. There's his, there's hers, there's mine, there's yours. And you have to take accountability for one. And, you have to be that voice of reason for yourself where you do get down and out, be like, no, that was me. That's not me no more. Let's show them the new me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
let's prove them wrong.
Mm-hmm. And I even say to that, because I could talk for myself, some people still don't um like
Mm-mm.
me based off of my past behaviors. They cannot celebrate me. They cannot appreciate what I have overcome or the woman that I have evolved into. They still see Nika from Manchester. They still see the freak Neek. They still see the addict. Right. And so sometimes it doesn't matter what you do differently or how much you grow and evolve. Some people are not able to celebrate you due to their unwillingness to forgive you or
Mm-hmm.
accept what has happened. And so when that is projected upon you, you have to know that you've done all you can. You can't change the past, but you can
Nope.
create a future. You can do something different moving forward. So either they are on board with you or you say, you know what, I have to love you from a distance. I have
Ex-
to protect my sanity, right?
Exactly right. And I'm gonna pull one from your book, and you celebrate yourself. You celebrate yourself and give yourself the pat on the back. You don't need anyone to do that for you because you know what you put into it. You know how far you've come. No
Yes.
one knows, where you walked or how hard it was to get there, but you. So you deserve to
Mm,
celebrate yourself.
absolutely. Thank you, Sandy, for the reminder. Celebrate yourself, right?
That's right. That's
And what
right.
you have been able to overcome because that's what matters in the end. So
Mhm.
I would like for you to just share with us, how do you deal with setbacks?
Setbacks are hard, even this long in recovery. Change for me is a traumatic thing. I think it's just because of the past. It's some sort of one of my one of my glitches, but you have to accept change. Change is going to come, right? Whether it's negative, whether it's positive, setbacks is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know if you're giving it 100%, then you did everything you could. And that's how that's how I handle setbacks. If I know I gave 100% and I put my heart into it, I tried my best, and I couldn't do any more, then that's what it was. But if I do the calculations and I saw that I came up short in this area or that area, I know next time.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is what needs to be done next time. The one thing about addiction and people in recovery, they they cause their own limitations.
Mm. How so?
They cause their own, they do not believe they could be a better version of themselves. You know, they're so people are so what's the word, conflicted from what has been done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness is hard on yourself, so therefore you're limiting yourself. I see a lot of people in recovery that's able to go forward, be that counselor or be that peer support, or hey, go up and be senator if you want to. But the thing is, do not limit yourself because of what's been done in the past. With time you could change anything. And
Mm.
if I had to have one thing to take away from all of it, I would say cut off your limitations. The sky is the limit
Mm.
for you. In addiction, there's one thing I'm sure everybody can agree with. When it comes to an addiction, you need everything you need to do to get it. You'd be surprised how creative you are. That hunger, that drive, that feed. Don't lose that part of you. Keep that
Yeah.
hunger, keep that drive, because that's what's going to get you to overcome the obstacles that's going to be there, because it's not easy. Every day is not easy, but it does get better. So don't limit yourself over the past. Shoot for the sky.
Come on here. Propel forward, influencers, and choose to live. Okay. Choose to be liberated, improve daily, be vivacious and enlightened. I love how you just encourage someone, because although you may not be suffering with addiction, you may not be, but there's not just one form of addiction. Let's be clear about that, right? There's different forms of addiction. It's not just with drugs and alcohol. There's gambling. All
Yep.
right. There's sexual addiction. There's shopping addictions, there's whatever consumes you and you
Mm-hmm.
lose control, you
Yeah.
may be suffering with an addiction.
Yep.
Whatever it is that you are dealing with that consumes you, that controls your well-being, that controls your finances, that controls your decision making, and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes a priority over your responsibilities, you're dealing with an addiction.
That's right.
So this can be very helpful to everyone. So I thank you for sharing and being transparent about your story and
Mm-hmm.
about how you serve in the community. And what I want to know from you, what are you most proud about?
So, the thing I am most proud about from my past, from my addiction, from the limitations that I set it for myself. Because of my Romanian background, I am very proud of the education that I've given myself. Um, Through our Romanian background, it is not accepted for females to have an education. A
Mm.
very limited education would be for the males, but not for females. So I was very proud that I was able to step out of that and basically walk myself through it. I was able to get my GED with top honors, and they even offered me a scholarship. Um, and that was the proudest moment, I think, for me, is because again I was limiting myself, thinking, oh no, you can't do this. No, no, you're past. But no, that's not it. Whatever you put
Yes.
to, you could do. You
Yes,
really,
you can do it. You can
yeah.
start the business. You can write the book. You can travel the world. You can be in a successful relationship. Go back to the other screen. You
Mhm.
can do whatever it is that you desire to do. If you dream it, you can achieve it. And I know that is so cliche, but here's the thing. You're looking at someone who was an addict. You're looking at someone who was an addict, right? And they have made changes in their life. Change is something that is constant. What change are you producing? Are you
Mhm.
producing change that is productive, that is positive, that is accountable to your vision and your purpose and calling in life? Or are you producing change that is a distraction, that is confusion, that is chaos with
Yeah.
no clear direction or structure, no discipline? So everything that we do in life, it has to start with you and your mindset. And so, yes, take
Yeah.
off the limited beliefs. That's what I'm taking with me from this show is no more limited beliefs. Whatever you choose to believe and entertain, that's what it will be. So choose to believe and imagine greater than you even see before you today, because you can do it,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
So thank you, Sandy. You got me hyped. You got me stirred up. Okay.
That's right. Now,
So here's what I want to end off with our show. There is one question that I ask all of our guests. This has been a great conversation, just about, again, the struggle in our everyday world. There is an epidemic crisis, and it's only getting progressive in our world, when it comes to these opiates. So, I want to know what it is that you've learned and learning. So I make the statement and you fill in the blank. I've learned and I'm learning. I've learned
I've learned to accept myself.
and learning.
I'm learning to celebrate my little achievements as well as my big achievements. They all
Yes.
matter.
They all matter. I was about to say a win is a win. You know me. A
Mhm.
win is a win. Progress is progress. And a goal is a goal. So with every goal that you achieve, you are successful. If that
Mhm.
meant going back to school and enrolling, well, God be, you're successful because you went back to school and you enrolled. That's an achievement. So we can't minimize or put aside on our wins and our accomplishments. That's what gets us stuck.
Yes. Yes.
And
100.
that's what causes us to entertain the limited beliefs.
Mhm.
But we choose to live over here.
Yeah. That,
We
gotta
choose
live.
to live.
That's right. Don't look back. You're not going that way.
I love it. I love it. You're not going that way. You're going forward. So listen, share with our listeners how they can connect with you, those individuals who may want to ask additional questions, or they may be looking for support if you're in the Dover area, how can they contact you? And if they wanted to, again, reach out for some assistance or resources, she is a plethora of resources by herself. Okay. How can they connect with you?
They can reach me on Facebook at Sandy Marks. You'll see my picture on there. You could also email me at smarksnn@gmail.com. And of course, if you reach out to Miss Anika, I'm sure she would give you other contact numbers for me as well. I am not private on my contact information. I believe I hold an open door policy. If you need something, come and talk, reach out. The only thing I could tell you is, I'm sorry I can't help you, but we're going to try. We're still going to try.
Now that is one thing I can definitely vouch for. She will try. And that's, again, one of those healthy boundaries. Like, this is what I am able to do. However, I can lead you in the right direction. It's up to you to take the steps forward, And so thank you so much, Sandy, for just sharing with us your story and how you are able to overcome addiction and be an advocate.
Yeah.
um that's how I look at you. I look at you as an advocate. I look at you as a woman who is diligent and passionate about serving her peers, serving others in the community who don't have the voice. And you've been able to overcome and find your voice, find your purpose. It's a beautiful thing. And so this show is not just highlighting entrepreneurs, it's highlighting leaders. And you are a leader. And I'm glad that we were able to connect. I'm glad that we are able to be a part of each other's lives and journeys. I mean this sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I absolutely adore you. And I thank God that we have been able to connect. And here we are. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Sandy Marks, and y'all already know. What are the last words that you would like to give our listeners, just to encourage them, for someone who may be struggling? with an addiction, not necessarily drugs or alcohol, but with an
Yeah.
addiction, what are some encouraging words that you would like to share with them before we go?
Well, there is one thing I could tell you. A lot of people are scared of change, right? But somebody told me that if you're able to change 1% of what you want to do better, like move forward, 1% every day for 100 days, you're going to be 100% better than what you were when you started.
Yes.
Baby steps or steps, count them.
Honey, okay, and there you have it, okay, influencers. So listen, this is the show to motivate and support leaders around the world. And so thank you for tuning into our show on Behind the Screen Business Confessions. Until next time, influencers, you already know I want you to choose to live, choose to be liberated, improve daily, be vivacious and enlightened. Until next time.
Bye.